Chapter 4. Torn. I want to talk to these caring people, but not wanting to listen to them judge the person I love so much. I just want to be loved and heard, to be able to talk about things without having others condemn the person I deeply care for. Knocked up. Keeping things from the police becomes a habit. Driving around with a rubbish bag full of pills in the boot of my car, with or without smiley faces on them, gives me an adrenaline rush. It's from fear, not excitement. A 20-year-old letting Tommy have his way. We're living on the edge, knowing if the police pull us up, it'll be bad. I lose count of the number of times I'm sitting in the car, waiting for Tommy to emerge from a dealer's house. I haven't grown up with this kind of life, but it's slowly becoming part of my daily routine. Yet, I'm staying with Tommy, ignoring the warning signs. Every little thing adds to the chaos growing inside of me, but my brain keeps saying it's no big deal. Drugs and dealing, abuse and pain are normal. The madness wipes away my senses. My reactions become less of a shock and more of defeat. I'm numb to the idea of creating responses. I must be overreacting like Tommy tells me anyway. When the end justifies the means, you start treading a dangerous path. I haven't been brought up to think this way, but survival and Tommy's drug highs have become my priority. Somehow I avoid becoming involved with most of the drug-taking activities around me. Tommy smokes marijuana 3 times a day, but I refuse it 99% of the time. He smokes and coughs his lungs out. An eyebrow dipping, I look at him, but he laughs hysterically. He only pesters me to take a puff when he wants to take advantage of me. He often succeeds. Tommy treats my body gently, but he also discards my right to decline his requests. That's dangerous. Overlooking your right to say no, or forgetting you have the internal strength to, can result in slowly losing your self-worth. Any nice person can take advantage of another person. So, while our love grows and remains constant, it can also send us down a risky path. My need to be loved overpowers my need to be valued. Deep down, Tommy has a good heart. He loves his mother more than anything, and I love that about him. His passion for sport and time for his whānau, or family. He's always looking out for his little brothers, are further proof. The problem is I'm waiting for his next good moment rather than finding happiness in the present. That drives me, but those good moments are few and my life's far from positive. The years I've spent with guys who haven't valued me sets me up for my biggest failure, that is, forgetting to love myself. I so badly want someone to hug me and tell me things I want to hear. I've forgotten I'm worthy of being loved and valued just as I am. Instead, I grant Tommy permission to tell me what's valuable and what isn't. That marks the beginning of the disaster. Tommy tells me he's slept with hundreds of girls before me. Am I just one of his choices, rather than his only choice? It's June 2008, around my birthday, so Tommy cooks for me a candle-lit dinner. It's my favourite. Lamb. I'm not hungry because we've been arguing. He's angry if I don't eat much, so I give in to his intimidation. It annoys me because I don't like lying, saying I'm hungry when I'm not. I find myself doing things like this more and more because I'm scared of how he'll react. We're halfway through our feed when some random guy, Jared, knocks on the front door, wanting to buy drugs. Tommy takes care of it before we're back eating roast potatoes, like nothing happened. This is his normal. It's fast becoming mine, swallowing me up. Our friends laugh when they reflect on who I used to be. That supposedly perfect young white middle-class girl from South Brighton. She's gone. At the end of dinner, Tommy pulls out from his hoodie pocket what looks like a small jewellery box. I see it coming because a week earlier he had asked me for money to buy a birthday present. He often does this because he doesn't have a permanent job while I work full-time. He sometimes does jib stopping and plastering work, but can't keep a job. Lisa, will you marry me? Be with me for the rest of your life, he says, pulling a fake diamond gemstone on a thin gold-plated band. It's a cubic zirconia that looks just like the real thing. I stare at it for a second, hesitating before speaking. Kneeling on the carpet in his dress pants, blue hoodie and a pair of skate shoes, he looks up at me with a cheeky grin on his face. His eyes well up. but mine don't, because everything going on is still annoying me. The whole scene's so screwed up. This isn't how it's meant to be. This isn't what I've been dreaming of since I was a little girl. It doesn't feel like what I think it should feel like. My gut instinct is telling me it isn't right. I've always thought of my future husband as my protector, someone who will care for me, love me, and make me feel special. I'm not feeling the butterflies people talk about. My idea of a proposal's a surprise, more like my heart overflowing with joy as my man proposes to me on the backdrop of a sunset. But there's none of that. To make things worse, Tommy talks me into buying him a chunky $3,500 gold bracelet the week before. He's been flaunting it to not only his mates but everyone he meets. I had felt so empty when signing that hire purchase agreement. Here I am, paying off a gold bracelet for Tommy, and all he thinks I'm worth is a $100 ring that I'm going to pay for. My self-worth takes another hit. He later admits selling the bracelet for drugs, while I'm still paying for it 2 years later. Yes, don't know what to say, I manage, although a voice in the back of my mind says, no, I'm never going to marry you. Yes, he says, with a quick laugh, before wrapping me up in a hug, pulling me off the chair, lifting me off my feet, and smothering me with kisses. That voice in the back of my mind reminds me he's only just yelled at me. We've had a druggie walk through our lounge in the middle of dinner, just before Tommy was about to propose to me. Do I want to marry this guy? Honestly, I'm over the idea, considering all my relationships so far. It turns out to be the strangest evening, something that'll forever remain vivid. The light reflecting off the kitchen windows and the green cupboards only makes me wonder when Tommy will lose his shit with me again. One thing I learned from this is not to lose myself, reminding myself I'm valuable. I don't need diamonds and gold. I need to feel respected and valued. Time and kindness are important to me, but a manipulative Tommy only gives me bruises and anger. Not long before this, I start work as a junior at a small accounting firm in the city. Having finished a few open Polytech papers, I'm very new to everything accounting. He makes me go to the interview, even though I'm not sure I can do it. You're going to get this, Joel, he says, looking me dead in the eyes as we sit in the car across from the office, mentally preparing myself for about 10 minutes. It feels like God's speaking to me through him. It's yours, he says. His confidence works like fuel as I cross the road for my interview. I meet the owner of Lowe & Associates, Stu, and the manager, Ian, who is an intimidating South African-born 6 foot something. Ian can ask you the important stuff, says Stu as he walks out of the interview room. Ian grills me with all sorts of questions such as, why should we hire you? He locks his eyes with mine. I can't look away. You got what it takes to do this job? Sink or swim around here. You're going to have to work fast and smart. Is this guy for real? I wonder. Maybe he's just sifting for gold. I've just started studying, but I'm a hard worker. I suck in a breath. I'll work really hard. My dad's taught me hard work. He looks at me. I sense he's thinking of jabbing me with another question, but to my surprise, he cracks a joke, smiling for the first time during the interview. We laugh. Despite his tough exterior, he seems to be a big softy underneath. I nail the job. I'm at work a few weeks later, wearing the ring. How silly of me to flash the stone on my finger like it's the real deal. Of course, there's the typical looks and questions I'm expecting from my colleagues, but one of them, Steph, is very concerned. She makes it very clear that she isn't happy with my choice of partner, trying to make me see that I can do better, that I'm worth more. Somehow she knows Tommy's bad news. The look of disgust on her face is obvious when he walks into the office. Maybe it's his oversized hoodies, loudness, unemployed status, or foul mouth that irritates her. Perhaps it's everything about him, but I sense when her mama bear kicks in for me. I admire her attempts, but know deep down they won't work, because a feeling of hopelessness is growing within me. The energy to see a way out is lacking. It's too hard to even think about it. The open plan office with desks spread up and down like church pews and a walking aisle down the middle is my safe space. The 30 or so staff immediately feel like family to me, rather than just co-workers. My blue Surface desk in the far right corner, with its personalised phone and direct dial number, makes me feel like a professional. Everyone has little things, like the calculator and stapler, but mine feels special because this is my first office job. Relaxing in the kitchen during break times with a coffee gives me room and time to breathe. I'm incredibly blessed to have the most amazing workflow manager and trainer, Kathy, who is about 30 and always smiling at me. She teaches me everything accounting. Knowing just the basics from my studies at this point means she mentors me from scratch. Kathy puts me down for manual work with paper and journals. I use stamps when reconciling a bank statement. She also encourages me to take my mistakes on the chin, but keep on going. Kathy keeps me grounded. I'm eternally grateful for her calming presence at work. Late one afternoon, Tommy and some of his mates arrive unannounced at work with a cute puppy. My colleagues are smitten with Tonka, a brindle Staffordshire Bull Terrier cross, but I'm so embarrassed I want to hide my head in my hands. Their unpredictable behaviour in a corporate office makes me nervous. Loose, Pākehā or white, and Māori boys, they have no idea about dress code, staying sober, or going easy on the F word. No, nothing classy about my boys. Having probably had a few sessions for the day, they're making enough noise to suggest they've cracked open a box of double browns, or beers, before coming to the office. Walking up to my desk, Tommy swoons around me, calling me his office girl. You've got to get out of here because I'm working expression doesn't require any translation. Calm down, he says, laughing at my face. Look how cute he is. Yeah, he's a real cutie, I say, unable to hide my smile from the puppy wrapped up in his hoodie. Nobody's reacting, but I cringe. Hey bro, beer o'clock yet? One of them asks Ian. Jip, which means yes. Ian replies in Afrikaans, laughing with them while smiling at me across the room. F my life, I think, as they head back out of the main entrance. Time for us to make a baby, Tommy declares a month later in the lounge at home after work. Not happening, I say. I'm not ready to have kids. Tonka's good parenting practice, he reassures me with a grin. We can't afford the puppy, let alone a baby, I say, after finding a perch on the arm of the couch to hold a serious conversation. Don't worry about it. Easy, we'll make it work. Frustrated, but knowing I've already lost the battle before I open my mouth to speak, I just let out a sigh. You can get off the depot, which is a Provera contraceptive, now, he says with a wink. Let's make a baby. Within a few weeks, I'm knocked up. Sitting on the toilet at home with the pregnancy test in my hands, hideous sea green walls around me, a shaft of light streaming in from the window and the door slightly ajar, I realise I am not ready for a baby. I don't want to do this. I'm not a mum. Young and having just started a job, I should be building a career. Tommy mustn't see me confused and overwhelmed. 2 bars, Tommy. I break the news to Tommy in the lounge. You know what that means. Yes, he says, punctuating it with his infectious laughter. He hugs me, lifting me like a rag doll to do a full circle twirl in the lounge, lifting me effortlessly. It's too late. No going back now. No getting out of this. One thing Mum always drilled into me is the white picket fence myth of Disney movies. That is the dream of marrying a prince to live happily ever after. It's time to wake up to reality. Tommy's no prince and I'm no princess. You're mine forever now, babe, he says with a strange smile. You wish, honey. I spar, returning the smile but cocking my head to the side to raise an eyebrow. Wrapping me up in another hug, he lets out another squeal. It'll be a boy, he predicts. You're going to give me a son. As he heads to the fridge for a beer, it dawns on me that he's taking his control over me to another level. He still makes me laugh, but also laughs at me, like the time I'm sitting in the car outside the fish and chip shop while he goes in to place our order. I'm singing along to a Celine Dion number on the radio when he creeps up to tap loudly on the window. Almost jumping out of my skin, I wind down the window. He laughs at my fear. Are you singing? Yes, I reply, dropping my eyes to the car dashboard. Gave you a fright, didn't I, babe? I think you sound cute. I'm too embarrassed to sing again. He thinks it's hilarious that I jumped and walks away laughing loudly. I don't sing in front of him again. Singing used to be my safe space, but he's violated that too. Due for my first 12-week scan, I'm rushing to make the appointment, but Tommy doesn't want to go. Upset, I start crying, thinking about the embarrassment I'll feel if I get there and I'm on my own. You're at home all day while I'm at work. All I'm asking you to do is get in the car and sit with me at the place, but you've obviously got more important shit to do. I yell back at him, snarkily, after he's told me he's not coming. He walks up to me and punches me viciously on my right arm to show his frustration at me for disrupting his weed smoking. Wincing, I bend over instinctively to protect my stomach and arm. F's sake, don't cry. I'm sitting here. You happy now, woman? Let's effing go, he says, as he eases into the front passenger seat. No sooner I'm behind the steering wheel, he punches my leg this time. The pants and top can't hide the reddish bruises starting to surface, but luckily the scanning staff seem to be oblivious to them. To hide the bruises, now a purple tinge, the next day I slip a long-sleeved top that covers just past my elbows on a piping hot day with spring around the corner. Beads of sweat pop up all over my face like condensation on the bottom of a saucepan lid. The office is sweltering and the air conditioning isn't great, despite the open windows. The bun rising in my biological oven adds to my body heat. Are you okay, Lisa? Steph asks me, looking right into my eyes. Aren't you hot in that? Want to wear something a bit cooler? I'm all good, I reply. I like the heat. Anything going on at home? Like what? Nah. Long-sleeve tops become part of my ensemble for about a month until the bruises, turning yellowish green, on my arm eventually disappear. A picture of Tommy with a blonde on his lap comes up via an MMS text message on my phone. Here I am, only a few months pregnant at home, and he's out playing the field. My heart sinks to the floor. Unable to do anything about it, I'm not just gutted but also feeling totally hopeless and unwanted. Easy is his word for girls like this, under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Trashy, young, caked in makeup and lacking ambition. You were much harder to get compared to these easy chicks, babe, he often says to me. Tall, short, dark locks slicked back, he flashes a made-to-order smile as often as a female flutters her false eyelashes. Overflowing with confidence, Tommy makes the dance floor his playground. The show-off's got a swollen ego to match his charisma. The joker in the pack, he comes across to most as a kind and caring person. Like a spider spinning a web, he ropes in his prey with a few dots or a tinny. Texts from 3 concerned people and another girl on the knee photo later. I'm lying on the couch of my Hoon-Hay home, gazing out of the window. Broken and empty, I know my boyfriend's at the house of another girl. Unable to face the mounting evidence, I bury the truth in the depths of my mind. Slowly but surely, any hope I've got left of happiness is disappearing. It's worrying that my growing baby may pick up my unhappiness and give it right back to me soon after birth. The confirmation of his unfaithful acts come in the form of an STD, or sexually transmitted disease. Shame is an understatement when I find out. It's something that happens to other people, not me. Not from me, babe, he says, looking at me from the corner of his eyes when I confront him about it. No idea what's happened. He must think I'm stupid. I just look at him, not in the mood to argue. Not because I don't want to or don't believe him, but because I've got absolutely no energy left to fight. It's the absolute pits when I consult my GP. I search the nurse's eyes, but it's swimming with care for me. The STD still doesn't stop me from ending our relationship. Tommy drags me to every party and associate's house during my pregnancy. I'm too tired to go to your mate's place, Tommy, I reason. Just want to chill out at home for once. We have a group of 5 or 6 friends' houses we regularly go to during the week, as well as stopping at his mum's house every few days and driving to multiple drug runs. You're pregnant, not sick, he says, raising his voice. The boys are shouting me a session and I need you to drive me, babe. Please? Looking at him defeated, I don't have the energy to argue. Okay, but not for ages this time, I say, offering a compromise. Maybe I'll just sit in the car. It's times like this that I think about his so-called friends who come and go, seemingly without a care for him. If Tommy has enough for a weed-smoking session, then they have time for him. If he needs help, I doubt most of them will lift a finger. No, you're coming in with me. The girls will want to see you, he says. In the first month of pregnancy, I shed 5 kilograms. Even keeping down water becomes a challenge. My stress levels rise, but I'm failing to recognise the change. You look like shit, says Tommy, laughing at my slight hapu or pregnant waddle and ridiculing me in front of our friends. What the hell are you wearing? My blue woolen V-neck jersey fits like a dress, sitting just above my knees to show my baby bump. It looks good, despite his funny looks to imply I'm cheating on him. I'm just trying to be comfortable. With all my clothes not fitting, I can't afford to buy maternity clothes. Girl, what are you doing with this dropkick? That's the look some of our friends are giving me tonight. Others are just blunt. I'm surprised you take that crap, says my girl Jazz, screwing up her face while tilting her head towards Tommy. My family and friends are in my face too. What do you think is going to happen when the baby gets here, Lisa? I don't even have the energy to think about it. The more I hear them say this, the more stubborn I become, wanting to prove them wrong. How young, stupid, and naive can I be? Pushing away my family, friends, and anyone who cares about me, I choose a love that's blind. It's filled with constant pain, on top of the pain of knowing that their warning is true. Torn, I want to talk to these caring people, but not wanting to listen to them judge the person I love so much. I just want to be loved and heard, to be able to talk about things without having others condemn the person I deeply care for. I wish they can find time to just talk to me, so I don't have to hide from conversations on Tommy. The man I'm protecting is exposing me to danger and destroying my other relationships that may prevent me from losing myself. Gradually, I'm losing people who can protect me and make me feel valued. It's time to learn to protect myself. Not giving my family and friends the benefit of the doubt may eventually come back to kick me in the ass. Perhaps I should say to them, if you don't talk badly about him, I'll tell you everything. It gets to a point where I've stopped caring if Tommy calls me fat and ugly or ridicules me in front of others. Dimming my eyes from heartbreak is becoming routine. I'm becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable. Abnormal is becoming normal. Abuse and violence are part of my life. Abandonment and mistreatment are minor events in the grand scheme of things. I'm an empath, so I care deeply about those in pain around me. That means forgetting about my pain and trying to help others. It's strange because most people tend to look out for themselves. Somehow, I forget what's important to me to focus on taking care of Tommy, even though he's abusing me. Too much empathy can be a negative thing, and this stage of my life is living proof of that. It's difficult as an empath to see the abuse for what it is. It's like placing a screen over my eyes to blur out negativity and turn it into something I can live and cope with. Tommy's needs trump mine to sidestep his angry outbursts. I don't put myself first, forgetting to love myself. I fear backlash if I don't put Tommy's needs first. His expectations are so high and I'm losing mine. If putting myself first is an option, I may consider it. The trouble is I can't see it. In doing nothing to change my situation, I choose to stay with Tommy. End of chapter 4.